My name is Richard Wilkinson, and this is Kate Pickett. We want to talk about the research we've done that's explained in this new book of ours called The Spirit Level. It's a bit of an odd title, but you'll see as we go along there are a lot of graphs with sloping lines on them, and I suppose the idea was that a spirit level tells you about slopes. But anyway, the subtitle is more informative. Why more equal societies almost always do better. And what we're going to do, the research we've been doing came really out of initially research on health inequalities, the big social class differences in death rates between rich and poor. And we've realized over time that a lot of the causes of that are shared by all sorts of other social problems. And so in a way what we have to tell you about is the effects of social hierarchy, of whether societies have bigger inequalities or smaller ones, on not only health but a whole lot of other problems. And the results are really quite striking and unexpected. I think when I first got into this, I never thought that the world would work quite as clearly and simply as it appears to. What I want to start with is really a sort of picture that we are, if you like, the first generation to have to think about how we improve the real quality of human life. In the rich countries, it's no longer economic growth which improves the quality of our lives. For thousands of years, I suppose, the best way of improving the quality of human life has been simply to raise material living standards. But we've got to the end of that process. If you look at this graph, you see that here you've got life expectancy. There's 50 years, there's 70 years, 80 years, and along the bottom you've got national income per person. That's, if you like, where countries have got to in the long process of economic growth. So here are the poor countries in the early stages of economic growth, and you see life expectancy rises very fast initially, but then it levels out. And we're going to be talking about these rich countries. You see there's Japan, Spain, Germany, Belgium, Austria, rich developed countries which are on this flat part of the curve where it doesn't make very much difference whether the whole society is a little bit richer or not. It doesn't make much difference to life expectancy. And over time, although life expectancy goes on improving, it's not because we move out along that curve, it's because actually the whole curve gets higher over time. But it's not just life expectancy that ceases to improve with economic growth. It's also something like happiness. Instead of life expectancy on this vertical axis here, you have the percent of the population who say they're very happy or quite happy. You see there's a remarkably similar shape. Rapid rises in the early stages of development, and then it flattens off. And so that's picture, it makes rather little difference what measure of well-being you use, whether health or happiness, or there are genuine progress indicators or various other things, and you can look at it cross-sectionally like this at one point in time, or you can look at countries changing over time. So you can see as Britain or the United States or Japan has got, well, sometimes 4 times as rich over a period of a generation or so, 50 years or so, and yet no change in measures of well-being. So, you know, we have got to the point where we have to think now how else to improve the quality of human life. It's important in the poorer countries still to raise material standards, but no longer in the rich world. There's one point I think is worth making at this stage, which is a little separate from the rest of what we want to say, but about the environmental implications. This is very like that first graph I showed you. It's still got life expectancy up the side here, but instead of having gross national income along the bottom, it's got carbon dioxide emissions, i.e. the emission of greenhouse gases, which we know are leading to climate change and global warming. And of course, it's a very similar shape to the one with gross national income. And you see this early stages of economic development, rapid rises in life expectancy and then flattening out again. But another way of looking at it is that actually you can achieve the high living standards and levels of happiness, of well-being and so on, without going beyond these sorts of levels of CO2 emissions. These ones are gaining no extra benefit, apparently, in life expectancy. And so maybe when you think of green policies of contraction and convergence, what we need to be thinking of is trying to move societies into this sort of area where we put this circle. Reducing carbon emissions without hopefully reducing health or happiness. And of course in the poorer countries we're trying to we want those countries to move up into that sort of area. So that's where we'd converge.